Tiffany Henyard, the self-declared super mayor of Dalton and Thornton Township, is currently embroiled in a political storm that has captured the attention of both communities. What began with a charitable turkey giveaway just before Thanksgiving has exploded into accusations of financial mismanagement, political opportunism, and serious threats to her career. Once celebrated for her bold leadership style, Henyard now faces growing scrutiny over her handling of both public funds and her administration's priorities, the turkey giveaway, an event Henyard had used to showcase her leadership and goodwill, quickly spiraled into controversy. Local leaders, including trustees Christopher Gonzalez and Carmen Perro, accused Henyard of turning a community charity event into a media spectacle designed more for personal gain than genuine concern for the community. These accusations reflect a deeper underlying issue: Henyard's growing reputation for using her position to further her political ambitions rather than addressing the real issues facing her constituents as Dalton's financial situation continues to deteriorate. With a $3 million deficit between 2022 and 2024, Henyard's actions have come under increased fire. A recent investigation into the township's finances has raised red flags about Henyard's spending habits, particularly her purchases using township credit cards. Critics point to her online shopping habits, with expenditures on luxury items from Amazon, Target, and Wayfair, which many argue are extravagant and irresponsible considering the township's financial crisis. These accusations of financial mismanagement have only added fuel to the fire, raising concerns about Henyard's ability to prioritize essential services like infrastructure and public safety despite mounting criticism. Henyard has defended her actions, arguing that these expenditures are necessary for the long-term growth and development of the township. However, these explanations have done little to quell the frustration growing among residents and local officials alike. The township's residents are facing deteriorating public services, and the perception that Henyard is more focused on personal comfort and non-essential spending is causing deepening discontent. The situation took a dramatic turn in October when Henyard attempted to fill a trustee vacancy by appointing a new member. This move was blocked when trustee Christopher Gonzalez refused to attend the board meeting, depriving Henyard of the quorum needed to make the decision. The public clash between Henyard and the trustees highlighted the deepening divisions within the local government, with growing calls for transparency and a more community-driven leadership style. Henyard, however, remained defiant, accusing the trustees of trying to damage her reputation and undermine her administration. The ongoing tensions within the township government are compounded by an investigation into Henyard's financial management led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. The investigation has cast a bleak light on Dalton's financial health, raising serious questions about Henyard's ability to manage the township's finances effectively. The more the public learns about her financial decisions, the more it seems that Henyard may be out of her depth in terms of managing a budget as complex as Dalton's. In an attempt to address the mounting concerns over Dalton's financial health, Henyard introduced a controversial proposal, a 100% property tax refund for local residents. While Henyard claims this plan will alleviate the financial burdens on the community, the proposal has been met with skepticism and criticism from both political rivals and constituents. Trustee Gonzalez, in particular, has voiced concerns about the lack of a clear financial roadmap for such a large-scale initiative. He points out that Henyard has not offered any detailed plans on how the refund will be funded, especially given the township's current financial situation. Gonzalez, along with other critics, argues that Henyard's proposal is more of a political ploy than a genuine solution to Dalton's fiscal issues. The township, which once had a surplus of over $5 million in 2022, now finds itself facing a massive budget deficit. Critics worry that offering tax refunds without a clear funding source will only further strain the township's already fragile finances. With a general fund that is rapidly dwindling, the tax refund plan raises more questions than answers. How will the township pay for this refund without exacerbating its debt? And what happens to essential services like public safety and infrastructure if Henyard follows through with such a bold but poorly planned move? The logistics of implementing such a refund program are also a point of contention. Determining eligibility, processing applications, and allocating funds will require significant resources and time. These challenges, along with the lack of a solid funding plan, have left many residents and trustees worried that Henyard's proposal could make the township's financial problems worse, rather than better. Some have even suggested that the refund plan is a distraction, a way for Henyard to deflect attention away from the serious financial mismanagement that has characterized her tenure as Mayor. Henyard, however, remains steadfast in defending her plan, insisting that it is a necessary step to provide relief for Dalton's residents. But critics are increasingly vocal about her apparent disregard for long-term planning and fiscal responsibility. The lack of transparency around the tax refund proposal is seen by many as emblematic of Henyard's broader leadership style, one that prioritizes short-term political gains over long-term stability and the well-being of the community. As the pressure on Henyard intensifies, the growing disillusionment among Dalton's residents is palpable. Calls for her resignation are getting louder, and many are wondering if this is the beginning of the end for her political career. Public trust in Henyard's leadership has eroded, and the community is demanding more than just empty promises. They want real solutions to the township's financial troubles, not politically motivated moves designed to win favor in the next election. Meanwhile, Henyard's defenders continue to stand by her, claiming that the attacks on her are politically motivated. Some have suggested that her critics are simply trying to discredit her because she is a strong woman in power. Henyard herself has repeatedly framed the controversy surrounding her leadership as part of a larger effort to undermine her administration. However, as the situation continues to unravel, it seems increasingly unlikely that she will be able to weather the storm. The combination of legal issues, mounting public dissatisfaction, and questionable financial decisions has placed Henyard's political future in jeopardy. If she is unable to turn things around quickly, the damage to her reputation may prove irreparable. The public perception of Henyard is no longer that of a bold leader, but rather one of recklessness and political opportunism. This dramatic shift in public sentiment is a clear indication that the people of Dalton and Thornton Township are losing patience and confidence in her leadership. The fate of Henyard's political career now hangs in the balance. The coming weeks will likely determine whether she can salvage her reputation, or if this controversy will mark the end of her tenure. The situation is only becoming more complex, with more investigations, allegations, and calls for accountability looming on the horizon. One thing is certain. The people of Dalton are demanding change, and whether Henyard can deliver that change or if someone else will take the reins remains to be seen. With every new revelation, Henyard's grip on power loosens, and it seems that the road to redemption, if there even is one, will be long and fraught with challenges. It's clear that the residents of Dalton and Thornton Township want more from their leader, and the pressure on Henyard to provide real solutions to the township's financial woes is growing. Whether she will be able to rise above the controversy or if her political career is doomed remains to be seen. As the investigation continues and more revelations come to light, one thing is for sure. The drama surrounding Henyard's leadership is far from over. Dalton Township's financial future is hanging in the balance as residents, trustees, and political rivals increasingly question the sincerity and feasibility of Mayor Tiffany Henyard's proposed plan to offer a 100% property tax refund to local residents. Initially marketed by Henyard as a game-changing solution to ease the financial burdens on the community, the proposal has sparked heavy scrutiny and doubts about its true motivations. Trustee Christopher Gonzalez, in particular, has raised concerns about the lack of a clear financial strategy to fund such an ambitious program. With the township already facing a precarious financial situation, Gonzalez warns that implementing the tax refund plan could jeopardize Dalton's fiscal stability. Along with other trustees, he argues that the township's immediate priorities should be addressing the financial mismanagement issues plaguing the community, such as stabilizing the budget and restoring essential services, rather than pursuing what they perceive as a politically motivated move to boost Henyard's popularity ahead of the upcoming election. Dalton's financial decline has been swift and dramatic. The general fund, which had a surplus of over $5 million in 2022, has rapidly decreased, resulting in a deficit of over $3 million by mid-2024. This downturn has led many to question whether the township can afford the proposed tax refund, especially given the current financial instability. Critics argue that Henyard's focus on an ambitious tax refund initiative, without a clear funding strategy, may be a hollow promise designed to win votes, rather than a genuine attempt to solve Dalton's fiscal challenges. The skepticism surrounding the plan is compounded by increasing dysfunction within the township's leadership. Board meetings have become increasingly contentious, with shouting matches and walkouts becoming more common. This has deepened the rift between Henyard and the trustees, who are demanding greater transparency, accountability, and fiscal responsibility from her administration. The mayor's leadership style, which has been described as unilateral and dismissive of differing viewpoints, has further fueled tensions within the board. Residents are growing frustrated as the township's most pressing issues remain unaddressed. Crumbling infrastructure, deteriorating public safety, and the lack of essential services continue to plague the community. Some have begun to speculate that Henyard's tax refund proposal is nothing more than a distraction from these pressing problems. Local business owners, in particular, have expressed concerns about the feasibility of Henyard's ambitious plans, questioning whether they are simply hollow campaign promises designed to buy votes ahead of the election. One local business owner remarked that, Although Henyard's proposals may sound promising on paper, they often lack the preparation and substance necessary to make a meaningful impact on Dalton's long-term prosperity. In addition to concerns about her tax refund plan, Henyard's leadership style has come under fire for being unilateral and dismissive of others' input. Trustee Carmen Carlisle recently accused Henyard of excluding board members from important financial discussions, further deepening the divide between the mayor and her fellow trustees. The ongoing power struggle within Dalton Township's leadership has left the community in a state of political disarray, with no clear path forward to address its most pressing needs amid all the financial turmoil and political infighting. Henyard's controversial decision to appoint Point Burge as the new police chief has added another layer of tension to the situation. Despite Burge failing to meet the required standards for position and his police certification expiring years ago, Henyard moved forward with the appointment. This decision sparked outrage among both trustees and residents, with many accusing Henyard of neglecting the necessary qualifications for the role and making decisions without proper consultation or transparency. Trustee DeBeller has vowed to challenge the appointment in court, arguing that it is a clear case of legal mismanagement and another example of Henyard's disregard for proper procedures. The appointment of Burge is seen as part of a broader pattern of decision-making by Henyard, who continues to make controversial choices without involving or considering the concerns of the community or the township's trustees. This has further alienated Henyard from the board and fueled growing distrust among residents. As public safety continues to deteriorate, the lack of qualified leadership in the police department has become a major concern for Dalton's residents. Many are questioning whether Henyard is truly focused on the well-being of the community or if her leadership is more about advancing her own political agenda, while Henyard defends her decisions and insists that the tax refund program is crucial for Dalton's future. Many residents are increasingly skeptical of her motivations. The township is already facing a growing financial crisis, with the budget deficit deepening and essential services being neglected in favor of politically motivated initiatives. The tax refund plan, without proper funding or a clear financial strategy, has raised questions about Henyard's ability to lead the township through its current crisis. The community's frustration is palpable as vital services, such as law enforcement and infrastructure, continue to suffer from neglect. Calls for an independent audit of Dalton's finances have been growing, with residents demanding transparency and accountability from Henyard's administration. The mounting dissatisfaction with Henyard's leadership is also fueled by her personal financial struggles. Reports indicate that she and her partner are facing eviction from their rental property due to unpaid rent, further undermining Henyard's credibility and raising doubts about her ability to lead the township during a time of financial turmoil. The combination of Henyard's personal financial issues, controversial decisions, and mounting public dissatisfaction has led many to question whether she is fit to continue in office. The political and financial struggles facing Dalton Township are reaching a breaking point, and Henyard's ability to overcome these challenges is becoming increasingly uncertain. With the community's trust in her leadership continuing to erode, many are calling for a change in leadership to address the township's growing financial and public safety issues. As the situation remains fluid, one thing is clear: Dalton Township is at crossroads. The future of the township's financial stability and the quality of life for its residents are uncertain, and the pressure is mounting for Henyard to provide clear answers and solutions. Whether Henyard can overcome the mounting pressures, or if the township will seek new leadership to address its challenges, remains to be seen. The coming weeks will likely determine the future of both Henyard's political career and the financial stability of Dalton Township, with tensions within the township continuing to escalate. It is unclear whether Henyard will be able to weather the storm. As more revelations about her leadership and financial decisions come to light, the public's patience with her administration is wearing thin. Until clear solutions are put forward and transparency is restored, Dalton Township remains in a state of political and financial uncertainty, with residents, trustees, and political rivals all questioning whether Henyard's leadership is a genuine attempt to improve the community or merely a political ploy to secure her own future in office. The ongoing political saga in Dalton Township has escalated as Mayor Tiffany Henyard's personal and professional life comes under increasing scrutiny. The mounting controversies have left residents, trustees, and political opponents questioning her ability to effectively lead the community. A major legal dispute between Henyard and her former landlord, who rented to her in 2021, has become highly publicized, intensifying the disillusionment already growing among local residents. The landlord has filed an eviction lawsuit, accusing Henyard and her partner of failing to pay rent, changing locks without permission, and using her political influence to manipulate the situation in her favor. This high-profile case has added fuel to a fire of criticism about Henyard's financial mismanagement and alleged unethical behavior during her tenure As mayor, the timing of the eviction case is particularly troubling given Dalton Township's ongoing financial struggles. The township faces a widening deficit, and Henyard's spending practices have raised concerns about the future stability of the community. Critics argue that if Henyard cannot manage her own finances or adhere to basic rental agreements, she may be unfit to handle the township's budget or lead with the integrity needed to restore public trust. The legal battle has now become a symbol of Henyard's broader issues with accountability, further tarnishing her reputation among both residents and public officials. Many residents are asking whether Henyard's personal financial instability is a reflection of her broader inability to manage Dalton's resources. As the case progresses, public frustration with Henyard continues to build. Calls for greater transparency and accountability from her administration have grown louder, with local business owners expressing doubts about her leadership. Some believe her actions may lack the integrity and foresight needed for the township to thrive. The dispute over the eviction has evolved from a private matter into a public symbol of the alleged ethical lapses that have defined Henyard's time in office, while Henyard has defended her actions, claiming she is being unfairly targeted. Her responses to critics have only deepened doubts about her ability to lead. Many view her increasingly angry outbursts as evidence of a leader under pressure, rather than one with the composure and temperament necessary to govern effectively. What once seemed like a personal issue is now inextricably tied to her role as mayor, raising serious concerns about whether she possesses the competence and integrity required to guide Dalton through its ongoing financial crisis. The township's financial difficulties, including a depleted general fund and a growing budget deficit, have further compounded the pressure on Henyard's leadership. Trustees and residents alike are questioning her ability to handle both personal and public responsibilities. As the eviction case drags on, Dalton's financial situation continues to worsen, and many are now wondering if Henyard is truly fit to continue serving as mayor. The increasing scrutiny surrounding her actions, both personal and professional, has led to growing dissatisfaction among the public. With her political future hanging in the balance, Henyard's ability to restore her credibility is now in question. In the midst of this turmoil, Henyard has announced her intention to run for re-election, projecting confidence in her campaign and even forecasting a landslide victory. However, her critics have become more vocal, accusing her of using township resources for personal gain. Many residents question the sustainability of her financial proposals, particularly her plan for a 100% property tax refund. They argue that Henyard's leadership has become synonymous with controversy and mismanagement. As the 2025 elections draw closer, the growing discontent among the public and the township's leadership is unlikely to subside, leaving Henyard's re-election bid in jeopardy. Her leadership has become a focal point of controversy, particularly as public gatherings and township meetings have turned into heated battlegrounds. Arguments, walkouts, and even police involvement have become more frequent, reflecting the deepening divisions within the community. Despite the growing discontent, Henyard remains defiant, asserting that she knows the truth and is determined to continue fighting for her village. However, her administration's spending practices are under intense scrutiny, with federal authorities launching investigations into her expenditures. This has further fueled public outrage, as residents and trustees alike question whether Henyard is prioritizing her political future over the community's needs. One major area of concern has been Henyard's focus on personal safety, particularly regarding the appointment of a new police chief. Some believe her actions in this regard are more about protecting her own reputation and political future than addressing the community's pressing issues. In fact, Henyard's detractors suggest that her concern for her personal safety has taken precedence over the safety and well-being of Dalton's residents. This has only further fueled skepticism about her leadership and her ability to make decisions that truly serve the best interests of the township. The ongoing federal investigations into Henyard's finances have only added to the uncertainty surrounding her leadership. These investigations, which can take months or even years to resolve, have left residents questioning whether Henyard is truly focused on resolving the community's problems or using her position for personal gain. Even some of her supporters have begun to voice doubts about her leadership. One social media commenter suggested that the Dalton Police Department should be disbanded and several officers should be arrested in order to allow the sheriff's office to take over. While this is an extreme suggestion, it reflects the growing disenchantment among Dalton residents who feel that Henyard is more concerned with protecting her image than addressing the real issues affecting the community. Despite mounting criticism, Henyard remains steadfast in defending her actions. In a particularly memorable Facebook Live session, she lashed out at her critics, stating that the stakes were higher than ever as the 2025 elections approach. She has continued to accuse her opponents of spreading false information and engaging in political games, further alienating those who are already dissatisfied with her leadership. The more she defends herself, the more the public's frustration seems to grow, leaving many to wonder if she can salvage her reputation, or if her critics are correct in demanding greater accountability. The situation surrounding Henyard's leadership is becoming increasingly complex. On one hand, supporters argue that Henyard is a fearless leader who is fighting for Dalton's future, while on the other hand, her critics contend that she is using her position to secure personal and political gain. The ongoing legal battles, federal investigations, and growing discontent among residents and trustees have only added to the uncertainty surrounding her political future as the 2025 elections draw near. The question remains, will Henyard be able to maintain her position, or will her opposition succeed in overthrowing the so-called supermayor? The growing tension surrounding her leadership suggests that the coming months will be crucial for her political survival. The outcome of the next elections could very well determine the future direction of Dalton Township. As the drama continues to unfold, the central issue at hand is whether Henyard's political ambitions align with the community's best interests, or whether they are a reflection of self-preservation. Her detractors argue that her leadership has become synonymous with corruption, financial mismanagement, and a lack of accountability. At the same time, Henyard supporters contend that she is simply fighting to protect the future of Dalton Township. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, but one thing is clear. The political drama surrounding Henyard's leadership is far from over. The coming months will likely determine whether Henyard can restore her credibility or whether her opponents will succeed in challenging her controversial tenure, with tensions continuing to rise and no resolution in sight. The people of Dalton Township are left wondering whether Henyard can overcome the mounting pressure, restore the community's trust, and deliver on the promises she made when she first took office. The situation remains fluid, and only time will tell whether Henyard's leadership will survive or if Dalton will move in a new direction. Thanks for watching Celeb News.